What if I told you that the real reason your erections have weakened after 60 isn't age, but salt? That something as simple as a pinch of the right salt added to water each morning could reactivate your circulation, reignite your testosterone, and restore the sexual vitality you thought was gone for good. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, a specialist in men's health and urology with over 30 years of clinical experience, and today I'm going to show you something most doctors never talk about. For decades, men like you have been warned to avoid salt. But what if that advice was only half the truth? You see, the problem isn't salt itself, it's the kind of salt. And when you switch to the right kind of unrefined, mineral-rich salt, something remarkable happens. Blood flow improves, nerves wake up, testosterone rises, and morning erections return. In this video, I'll walk you through 10 amazing benefits of adding this salt to your morning water. Benefits that go far beyond the bedroom. By the end, I'll also reveal the exact way to take it and one critical mistake to avoid. Don't miss this. What you're about to hear could change everything you thought you knew about aging, vitality, and your manhood. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that button and turn on the bell, so you never miss a simple, natural tip to restore your strength and manhood after 60. And if you find this video helpful, just type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. I read every response, and it helps me create better, more useful videos for men like you. Alright, let's begin with the first and perhaps most important truth. One that every man over 60 needs to hear loud and clear. You are not losing your strength because you're getting older. You're losing it because your body is depleted, specifically depleted of the essential minerals it once had in abundance. And that quiet deficiency may be the real reason your energy is down, your circulation is sluggish, and your erections just aren't what they used to be. Let me explain. 1. You're not weak. You're depleted. I want to start by sharing something I wish more men heard from their doctors. Weakness isn't the problem. Not really. You're not weak, you're depleted. And there's a world of difference. I've sat across from thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, men who come to me with a look of quiet defeat. They tell me they're tired, their erections are weak or gone, and they don't feel like themselves anymore. And you know what breaks my heart the most? It's not just the physical symptoms. It's what they start to believe about themselves, that this is just how aging works, that they've somehow lost their manhood. But I always look them in the eye and tell them this. Your body hasn't given up on you. It's asking for help. Most of what we call aging in men is actually a slow, silent mineral depletion. It's like running a powerful engine on an empty tank. Over time, things sputter. The spark fades. But the machine? It's still there. It just needs the right fuel. Your muscles, your circulation, your hormones, even your erections, all of them rely on essential minerals to function properly. But due to decades of processed foods, low-quality salt, medications, stress, and dehydration, most men over 60 are deeply deficient in the minerals that power sexual function, blood flow, and testosterone. We're talking about magnesium, potassium, zinc, selenium, the silent heroes that once fired up your energy and manhood without you even realizing it. When these minerals fall too low, the effects show up in your everyday life. You wake up feeling flat. Erections become unreliable. Your body doesn't respond the way it used to, and your confidence begins to erode, slowly and painfully. But what most men don't realize is that this state is not permanent. It's reversible. All it takes is giving your body the minerals it's been silently craving. And one of the easiest, most powerful ways to begin that process? A simple morning ritual involving the right kind of salt, something we'll get deeper into as we go. And once your body starts getting that missing mineral foundation, everything changes, especially what happens in the bedroom. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Not all salt is the same. In fact, the salt most men are using is part of the reason they feel worse, not better. What if I told you the very thing you've been told to avoid might actually be the key to restoring your strength? Let's talk about that next. 2. The salt that charges your erections like a battery. I remember one of my patients, Jim, 67 years old. He came to me frustrated and embarrassed. He'd tried everything. Medications, supplements, even those little blue pills. Nothing seemed to work consistently, and deep down, he felt like he was losing a part of himself. One day, as I was reviewing his blood work and his lifestyle, I asked him a simple question. "Jim, what kind of salt do you use?" He looked confused, shrugged, and said, "Just the regular stuff from the store." That answer told me everything I needed to know. Most men don't realize that the kind of salt we've been told to use, white, refined, bleached table salt, isn't just empty. It's harmful. That salt has been stripped of nearly all of its minerals. It's nothing but sodium chloride and chemical additives designed to keep it from clumping. And the real tragedy? It actually depletes your body of the very minerals it desperately needs, especially as you get older. But then there's a different kind of salt, one that's been largely forgotten. Unrefined, mineral-rich salt, like Himalayan pink salt or Celtic sea salt, isn't just seasoning, it's fuel. It contains over 80 trace minerals that your body, your heart, your brain, and yes, your erections depend on. When you consume this kind of salt in the right way, it's like flipping the switch back on in a house that's gone dark. Your energy returns, your circulation improves, and your manhood begins to wake up. These trace minerals, magnesium, potassium, calcium, zinc, selenium, they act like conductors in your body's electrical system. They help relax blood vessels, regulate nerve function, produce hormones, and deliver oxygen where it's needed most. That's why I tell my patients, think of your penis like a high-performance sports car. Without electrical charge, without the right fuel, it's just sitting in the garage. But once those minerals are restored, that engine can roar again. Jim started using mineral salt every morning, just a quarter teaspoon dissolved in warm water on an empty stomach. Within a week, he called me. "Doc," he said, "I woke up this morning and I felt something I haven't felt in years. I felt alive." That's the power of the right salt. But here's where things get even more exciting. Restoring minerals doesn't just wake up your circulation, it activates a much deeper system, one that controls your hormonal rhythm and reignites your natural drive. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. 3. Restores blood flow down there where it matters most. There's a moment I'll never forget. A man named Robert, 71 years old, sat in my office with tears in his eyes, not because of pain, but because of something deeper. He said, "Doc, I look at my wife and I still love her, but my body just doesn't respond anymore. I don't feel like a man." I could hear the shame in his voice, and I told him something I'm going to tell you now. It's not you, it's your circulation. You see, erections aren't just about desire, they're about blood. Strong, steady, oxygen-rich blood that flows freely through your arteries and into the delicate vessels of your manhood. And after 60, that system doesn't just slow down, it stiffens, narrows, and loses flexibility. That's why many older men feel like their drive is there, but the body isn't following through. What's often to blame is something you can't see: chronic, low-level inflammation in your blood vessels. Years of refined salt, processed foods, dehydration, and stress quietly damage the very pathways your blood needs to travel through. That's where mineral salt becomes so powerful. When you start each morning with just a small amount of unrefined salt in water, you're not just hydrating, you're nourishing your blood vessels. You're giving your arteries the minerals they need to relax, open, and let blood move the way it's meant to. Magnesium in the salt helps dilate those vessels. Potassium helps balance fluids. And when your circulation improves, especially down there, everything changes. Robert started the ritual. He was skeptical at first, but within 2 weeks, he noticed something he hadn't felt in years: warmth, fullness, response. And soon after, morning erections returned. Not perfect, not like when he was 25, but real, strong, alive. That was enough to bring the hope back in his voice. The truth is, you can't have strong erections without strong blood flow. And you can't have strong blood flow if your vessels are inflamed, dry, or starving for minerals. It's simple physiology, but it's also deeply emotional. Because when circulation returns, so does confidence, intimacy, and connection. But blood flow is just one piece of the puzzle. What if I told you that by restoring it each morning with this mineral salt, You're also setting off a chain reaction inside your body, a hormonal signal that reawakens your natural rhythm as a man. That's exactly what happens next. 4. Triggers morning erections by resetting your hormonal clock. One of the most powerful indicators of a man's sexual health isn't what happens at night, it's what happens in the morning. Morning erections aren't just physical, they're hormonal. They're your body's natural signal that testosterone is flowing, blood is circulating, and everything is working as it should. And yet, for many men over 60, that signal slowly fades until it's gone altogether. It doesn't happen overnight, and that's what makes it so unsettling. You simply wake up one day and realize it's been weeks, or even months, since you felt that natural sign of vitality. What I tell my patients is this: the absence of morning erections isn't just a symptom, it's a message. Your body is out of rhythm. Your hormonal clock has slipped out of sync. And one of the simplest, most natural ways to reset that clock is with a small morning ritual using mineral-rich salt. When you take a quarter teaspoon of unrefined salt in warm water first thing in the morning, you're doing more than hydrating. You're sending a message to your body that it's time to wake up and engage. After hours of fasting during sleep, your cells are primed to absorb nutrients. And the minerals in this salt, especially magnesium, zinc, and selenium, are exactly what your endocrine system needs to jumpstart testosterone production. It's like lighting a fire. One spark in the morning can fuel your entire day, physically, mentally, and hormonally. And I've seen this over and over again. Men in their 60s and 70s who had resigned themselves to just getting older suddenly begin waking up with spontaneous erections again. Not because of medication, not because of some miracle drug, but because their body finally had what it needed to regulate itself naturally. And there's something deeply empowering about that. You're not forcing your body to perform, you're allowing it to return to what it was designed to do. Morning erections become more than a physical event. They become a sign that you're alive, aligned, and hormonally awake. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. This salt doesn't just support your hormones, it sharpens the very signals your brain sends to your reproductive system. And for many men, that connection, the brain to the body, is where the true spark of desire and performance begins. Let me show you how it works. 5. Supercharges the brain-penis connection. Years ago, I had a patient named Thomas. He was 64, sharp-minded, healthy overall, but deeply frustrated. "I want to be intimate," he told me. "The desire is there, but nothing's happening. It's like there's a delay between my brain and my body." That stuck with me, because what Thomas was describing is something I see all the time in men over 60, a disconnect. The brain still desires, but the body doesn't follow through. And the truth is, that connection isn't just emotional or psychological, it's electrical. Erections don't begin in the bedroom. They begin in the brain. A thought, a memory, a moment of attraction, that's the spark. But that spark has to travel down the nervous system, through your spine, and into the nerves surrounding your pelvis and penis. And for that signal to move clearly and effectively, your body needs one thing above all else: minerals. Without magnesium and potassium, two of the most crucial minerals in your body, nerve signals slow down, they weaken, and even when the brain is saying go, the body responds with hesitation. That's not a failure of desire, that's a failure of electrical communication, and that's why adding mineral-rich salt to your water each morning is so much more than a hydration habit. It's a way of restoring that lost connection between your mind and your manhood. I remember checking in with Thomas a few weeks after he started this simple ritual. His voice was lighter, more confident. "I didn't realize how numb I'd become," he said. "Now I actually feel things again, not just physically, but emotionally too." That's the power of restoring the brain-body link. It's not just about performance, it's about presence. Feeling fully alive in the moment, connected, capable, a man again. When your nerves are well-nourished, signals fire faster, sensation returns, response time improves, and instead of wondering whether things will work, you simply act, and your body responds the way it should. But this neurological clarity doesn't just stop with sensation, it creates a cascade effect. When signals move freely, stress reduces, confidence builds, and you begin to reclaim more than just your physical function. You reclaim your inner vitality. And as we'll see in the next part, restoring that connection also helps reset the very chemical that's been sabotaging your erections for years, something every man over 60 needs to understand. 6. Replenishes energy and lowers cortisol, your erection killer. There's a silent force working against nearly every man over 60, and its name is cortisol. You may not see it, you may not feel it directly, but if you're constantly tired, tense, and struggling to maintain an erection, cortisol is likely playing a central role. It's your body's primary stress hormone, and when it stays elevated, day after day, year after year, it becomes a quiet saboteur. It disrupts testosterone, constricts blood vessels, and sends your nervous system into a constant state of fight or flight, and no man can perform under those conditions. I had a patient, Carl, who said to me, "Doc, I wake up already exhausted, like I'm dragging my body through the day. I'm too tired to feel sexual, let alone act on it." That's not just fatigue, it's depletion at the hormonal level. When your cortisol is high and your minerals are low, your energy system can't function properly. And it's not just about physical stamina, it's about emotional resilience, motivation, even the basic spark of desire. What most men don't realize is that cortisol and mineral loss go hand in hand. Every time your stress levels rise, your body burns through magnesium, potassium, and other electrolytes like fuel. And when those levels dip too low, the system starts to break down. But here's where mineral-rich salt becomes a powerful ally. It doesn't just replenish what's been lost, it helps your body respond to stress more effectively. It supports adrenal function, calms the nervous system, and allows your body to recover from the wear and tear of decades of overwork, worry, and tension. Carl started adding a pinch of unrefined salt to his morning water. After a few days, he told me, "I don't feel as edgy. I'm more grounded. And for the first time in months, I actually had the energy to be present with my wife again." That's what happens when you stop trying to push through exhaustion and instead give your body what it's truly asking for. When your cortisol drops and your energy stabilizes, everything else begins to improve: circulation, mood, libido, and performance. You're no longer running on fumes, you're operating from strength. And it shows in the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, and yes, the way your body responds in the bedroom. But cortisol isn't the only thing draining your energy and lowering your testosterone. There's another hidden deficiency most men never check for, one that's silently eroding your ability to perform. And you might be flushing it down the toilet without even knowing it. Let's talk about that next. 7. Boosts testosterone. Production naturally. One of the biggest lies older men are told is that declining testosterone is just part of aging, that once it drops, it's gone for good. But I've seen something very different in my practice. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even early 80s naturally raise their testosterone without injections, without patches, and without risky medications. How? By giving their bodies the basic building blocks that testosterone needs to be produced in the first place. I remember Richard, a retired construction worker who came to me after feeling flat and unmotivated for years. He told me, "It's like the fire went out. I'm not depressed, but I'm not myself either." His blood work showed what I suspected: low testosterone and even lower mineral levels. Zinc, magnesium, and selenium were all critically low. I told him, "Before we talk about testosterone replacement, let's fix the foundation. Let's rebuild your internal chemistry." What most men don't realize is that testosterone is made inside your body every single day, but only if the ingredients are there. Zinc is absolutely essential. It's used directly in the process of testosterone production and is highly concentrated in the prostate and testes. Magnesium helps increase free testosterone, the active form that your body can actually use. And selenium supports the enzymes that protect and stimulate testosterone activity. All of these minerals are found naturally in unrefined salt, the kind you dissolve in water each morning. When Richard committed to this simple practice, just a small amount of mineral-rich salt each morning, his energy began to shift. Within 3 weeks, his mood lifted. He had more drive, more interest in intimacy, and a new sense of clarity he hadn't felt in years. His next blood test showed a modest but steady rise in testosterone, naturally. That's the power of giving your body what it was missing all along. You see, your body wants to create testosterone. It wants to give you strength, confidence, and sexual vitality. But it can't do that if the raw materials are missing. When you restore those minerals, your body responds. It doesn't take a pharmaceutical intervention. It takes support, consistency, and trust in your body's ability to recover. But even with testosterone on the rise, there's still one major obstacle standing between you and better erections. An invisible enemy that affects nearly every man over 60, yet hides in plain sight. And unless you fix this one critical issue, all your other efforts could fall flat. Let me show you what it is. 8. Reverses hidden dehydration. That's sabotaging erections. Most men don't realize how dehydrated they actually are. I'm not talking about dry mouth or thirst. This is a deeper kind of dehydration. It happens at the cellular level, and it creeps in slowly over time, especially after age 60. I see it all the time in my practice. A man will come in saying he's drinking plenty of water, but he still feels sluggish, foggy, and, most of all, his erections are weak or completely absent. What's going on? The truth is, drinking water isn't always enough. Your body can't absorb and hold on to water without minerals. Plain water without electrolytes just runs right through you. And if you're using refined salt, the white processed stuff, it's not only failing to hydrate you, it's actually making things worse by flushing minerals out. That's where unrefined, mineral-rich salt becomes a game changer. When you dissolve a small amount of this salt in water each morning and drink it on an empty stomach, it does something remarkable. It helps your body absorb and retain hydration where it's needed most. Your blood becomes thinner and more fluid, which allows it to flow more easily into areas that require precision and responsiveness, especially your pelvic region. Erections depend on hydration. When your cells are full and nourished, your tissues are more elastic, your blood pressure stabilizes, and your circulatory system functions at its peak. I had a patient named Glenn who always looked tired. He wasn't overweight, he wasn't on any major medications, but he just felt flat. After talking with him, it became clear that he was chronically dehydrated and mineral deficient, even though he drank plenty of water. We added just one thing, a pinch of mineral salt each morning. Within a week, his energy started improving. But what really surprised him? He said, "I woke up hard 3 mornings in a row. That hasn't happened in years." The change wasn't magic. It was biology. When your cells are hydrated properly, blood flow improves, nerve endings become more responsive, and your entire system becomes more balanced. You feel it not just in your energy levels, but in the firmness and fullness of your erections. And yet, hydration is only one part of this story. There's another hidden link, one most men never connect to their sexual health, that plays out while you're asleep. If you're not addressing this next factor, your testosterone may never reach its full potential, no matter how well you hydrate. Let's take a closer look. 9. Helps you sleep better, so you wake up stronger. Sleep is one of the most overlooked factors in a man's sexual health, especially after 60. I can't count the number of times I've had older patients tell me they haven't had a full night's rest in years. They wake up multiple times, toss and turn, and start their day already exhausted. What they don't realize is that poor sleep is quietly robbing them of testosterone, vitality, and the very foundation of strong, consistent erections. Your body produces most of its testosterone while you're sleeping, specifically during deep sleep and REM cycles. And if those cycles are disrupted, your hormone production takes a hit. Even just a few nights of fragmented sleep can lead to noticeable drops in libido, energy, and performance. Over time, this compounds into a steady decline that many men mistake for normal aging. One of my patients, Harold, a 69-year-old retired teacher, came to me frustrated that his drive was gone and his sleep was a mess. He had tried melatonin, over-the-counter sleep aids, even cutting out caffeine, but nothing worked long-term. I asked him to try something simple. Dissolve a small pinch of mineral-rich salt in warm water and sip it slowly about an hour or two before bed. He raised an eyebrow, but agreed. Within the first few nights, Harold reported falling asleep faster and waking up feeling more rested. But what really got his attention was what started happening in the mornings. "Doc," he said with a grin, "I actually woke up with something I hadn't seen in a long time. I forgot what that felt like." That was no coincidence. The magnesium and trace minerals in unrefined salt help calm the nervous system and regulate your natural sleep-wake rhythm. They reduce nighttime cortisol spikes that disrupt sleep, and they help your brain transition into the deeper sleep stages that your body needs to heal, recharge, and produce hormones. And when that process is restored, everything starts to feel easier: energy, clarity, mood, and of course, sexual function. It's a reminder that restoration doesn't happen through effort alone. It happens through rest. And when your sleep improves, your body has the space it needs to perform like it's meant to. But here's something most men never think about. What if your skin, yes, your skin, could absorb the very minerals you've been missing and deliver them straight to your reproductive system? That's not science fiction. That's what we'll explore next. 10. Can be absorbed through the skin and into your manhood. I remember a conversation with a patient named Daniel, who was 73. He had been doing everything right, eating better, drinking his morning mineral salt water, even doing light stretching to support circulation. But he came back one day and asked, "Is there anything else I can do to speed this up? I feel like I'm waking up, but slowly." I told him something that surprised him. Your skin isn't just a barrier, it's an entry point. And when used the right way, it can be one of the most effective ways to nourish the body, especially in the areas where you need it most. You see, when you soak in a warm bath with unrefined mineral salt, about half a cup in a tub of water, your skin begins to absorb those minerals directly. There's no digestion required, no interference from food. The magnesium, potassium, and other trace elements pass straight through the skin and enter your bloodstream, where they begin to support circulation, muscle relaxation, and nerve signaling. And when done in the evening, it becomes even more powerful. The warmth increases blood flow, while the minerals calm the nervous system and begin preparing your body for deep, hormone-producing sleep. What makes this even more interesting for men over 60 is how these baths support the pelvic region. The heat, combined with improved blood flow and mineral absorption, helps relax the soft tissues around the lower abdomen and groin, areas that often become tight, tense, and undercirculated with age. That tension can restrict blood flow and dampen sensitivity, which leads to weaker erections and delayed response. But when the body relaxes and the minerals go to work, things begin to shift. You feel more open, more sensitive, more in tune with your body. Daniel started doing these mineral soaks twice a week, just for 15 to 20 minutes before bed. After a few weeks, he told me something that made us both smile. "It's not just about what's happening in the bedroom anymore. I feel more like myself, more connected, more alive." That's the gift of full-body nourishment. And it all ties back to the same truth. Your body wants to heal, it wants to restore, but you have to give it the tools and space to do so. Now that you understand how this one mineral-rich salt can impact your energy, your sleep, your hormones, and your erections, let's bring it all together, because how you take it, when, how much, and what to avoid can make the difference between wasted effort and a real breakthrough. Let's wrap this up. Conclusion. If you're a man over 60, I want you to hear this clearly. Your body is not broken. It's not too late. And what you're going through, low energy, soft or missing erections, fading desire, is not simply getting older. It's your body sending signals, asking for something it once had and has slowly lost over time: balance, nourishment, and rhythm. What we've talked about in this video isn't just about salt. It's about what that salt represents: a return to something natural, something essential, and something deeply masculine. We've covered 10 powerful ways that adding mineral-rich salt to your morning water can begin restoring your strength as a man. It replenishes critical minerals that fuel blood flow, recharge nerve function, and help your body produce testosterone naturally. It hydrates you at the cellular level, supports sleep, lowers stress hormones like cortisol, and rebuilds the electrical connection between your brain and your body. It even works through your skin, calming the pelvic area and relaxing the tension that quietly builds over decades. These are not gimmicks. They're grounded in physiology, in chemistry, and in thousands of real stories I've witnessed firsthand. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even late 80s regain their confidence and function by making this one simple change each morning. Not because it's magic, but because it's what the body needs. I think of Jim, Richard, Glenn, and so many others, not patients anymore, but men who took back their energy, their presence, their identity. All of them started with the same ritual: a pinch of unrefined salt in warm water first thing in the morning, every day. They gave their bodies the minerals they were quietly starving for, and their bodies responded. This is your opportunity to do the same, to reclaim not just your erections or your hormones, but your sense of strength and control. Because when you start the day by supporting your biology, you begin to see that age doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean wisdom, clarity, and yes, power. So start tomorrow. Just one glass, one pinch of the right salt, one act of self-respect. Give your body a chance to remember what it's capable of. You don't need permission, you don't need pills, you just need to begin. Your best years are not behind you. They're waiting, right in front of you. And they begin with one glass of water and one decision to rise again.